Kung Fu Panda 4 is now showing in cinemas, so here's my review of Kung Fu Panda 4. I love the Kung Fu Panda franchise, so I was pretty excited to go revisit the world of Kung Fu Panda through this new movie, but I was also very skeptical because it's the fourth movie in the franchise and it's coming out a little late into the game. For context, I was still in high school when the last movie came out, so there's a bit of pressure on this movie to be good. And having seen it now, I'd say they still got it. I really love Po's character. I think his optimism and positive outlook on life is so infectious. And Jack Black, as always, gives 100%. You could feel him bring this character to life. I also really like the arc that Po goes through, because in this movie, Po is tasked with finding his successor to the Dragon Warrior mantle. I like that this movie continues to progress Po as a character without having to nerf him and without having to sacrifice what made him lovable in the first place. In a way, it kind of feels like we're growing up with Po because he starts out being this inexperienced student who learns and grows throughout the first few movies, and now he's at a point where he is the teacher. But being the teacher doesn't mean he's got everything figured out, and I like that. This movie is also very funny. There were a couple moments in here that had me laughing. Now, no movie is perfect, and this movie is no exception, because as good as it was, there are some things that I felt were missing. For starters, the Furious 5 wasn't there. Felt a little weird for them not to be there, considering the fact that they were huge parts of the franchise in the previous films. I know they gave an in-universe explanation as to why they weren't there in the movie, but let's be honest, it's probably because they had trouble getting the cast back. As fun as it was seeing Po's two dads go on their little side quest, there are times where that whole subplot feels out of place. Like they needed to kill time and find a way for the two to be in the final battle somehow, and this is what they got. I know I said this movie was funny, but I will admit there are some jokes in here that I felt they reused too much. I thought Viola Davis was really good as the chameleon, but I was sort of expecting a little more from her character. As far as villains go, the stakes didn't really feel as personal as the other villains. But despite all that, I still like the movie, and I think it's definitely worth the watch. It still retains the magic of the franchise with just a few things that could use a little more improvement in my opinion. No spoilers, but the way this movie ends kind of feels like this is going to be the last of the franchise, but I really hope it's not. I feel like they've got one more story left to tell, and I'd be down for a Kung Fu Panda 5 to give us a proper ending to the franchise.